Welcome to Maui Electric Vehicle Alliance, or Maui EVA for short. My name's Ann Koo. I'm the director of this project. Today, the 7th episode, I'm very pleased to have Maui Electric Company with us, and that's MECO for short, MECO. Please come back and join us for a conversation with Mat McNeff.
Discover your future through learning. With a Bachelor's of Applied Science degree, you'll be prepared for a career in the field of sustainable science management, engineering and technology, or applied business and information technology. Create sustainable communities. Engineer the next generation of technology. Develop the business expertise to succeed in a dynamic economic environment. Apply now at the University of Hawaii Maui College.
The Bachelor's of Applied Science in Engineering Technology at UH Maui College provides curriculum and training in electronics, computers, optics, remote sensing, and other technologies.
I always messed with video games and televisions and computers, so it was always something I really wanted to work with, throughout my life.
I always had a fascination with electronics, and then because I was in the associate's degree, that also motivated me to do the bachelor's degree.
This degree prepares graduates to be productive professionals who can make meaningful contributions to industry in Maui County, the state of Hawaii, and the world.
Well, I especially like the hands-on experience that we get and the hands-on learning that we receive.
You don't need to leave home to do it.
For me, it means that it's affordable. I can stay here on Maui.
If you would like more information on how to apply to this program, call the Educational Opportunity Center at 984-3286 or visit us online at maui.hawaii.edu.
Welcome back. Maui Electric Vehicle Alliance is very pleased to have Maui Electric Company with us. MECO is the regulated utility in Maui County, and I'm very pleased to have, as our guest today, Mat McNeff. Mat, welcome to Maui EVA TV.
Thanks for having me, Ann.
Now, I'm very pleased to finally meet you and work together with you after we've been on email exchange for about a year, and you have seen some changes in your job when you first started at Maui. As part of our project, you were doing something else, I believe.
When we first started going back and forth on email, I was the Renewable Energy Project Supervisor, and since then I've become the manager for the Renewable Energy Services Department.
All right, Renewable Energy Services Department. So is that all renewable energy comes under you? Is that?
For the most part, yeah.
So that's what, wind, solar?
Yes, hydro.
Hydro even?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's quite a responsibility.
Yeah. So in addition to the renewable energy aspect, the department also takes care of the long-range planning for the utility, and we have the key account managers for commercial customers.
All right. Well, I'm so pleased that you could be here today and solve the mystery, so to speak, for me personally. When we were at the Maui Fair recently, people just see Maui Electric and they don't see the Vehicle Alliance. So they think we're Maui Electric. So they come up and say, oh yeah, I need to ask about my bill. So everybody knows who Maui Electric is, who MECO is in Maui County, which is several islands, not just Maui Island. So I want to find out more about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Maui, born and raised here.
You were born and raised in Maui. Okay, yeah. So you've been everywhere. You know Maui intimately.
Pretty well.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the challenges that you find with Maui? I mean, in terms of what you've seen throughout your life here.
The challenges with Maui?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of opportunities, tourists and all that, but in terms of energy challenges.
Well, Obviously, I mean, there's a lot of potential here for renewable energy, but there's the population is not that large, so sometimes we're somewhat limited by how much renewable energy we can take based on how much electricity people actually use.
Oh, right. So we have a reverse problem. We have lots of supply, lots of renewable energy supply, but not enough use of it.
At times, yes.
Right. So this is probably where electric vehicles come in.
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. So I guess as a company, MECO embraces the introduction or the adoption of electric vehicles.
Yes, we're very much for the adoption of electric vehicles.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Right. Now, I'm just very curious about the whole picture, the big picture, going into, you know, I know we have some energy targets for Hawaii, and finding more about MECO, background of MECO, and then going into, you know, what is the capacity, what is the load curve, and then going into charging stations, and then to tariffs. So we've got a busy 1 hour ahead of us. So. Yes. Great. So I know you have an excellent presentation, so I'm going to ask our audience to please come back. We'll be right back just after this with all these wonderful things with Mat McNeff.
One of the big advantages of going to Maui College is that it's affordable, but at the same time it doesn't sacrifice quality.
Maui College's Bachelor's of Applied Science in Applied Business and Information Technology combines the best in entrepreneurial education with information technology and liberal arts.
It's supposed to encompass every aspect of business that prepares you to be an entrepreneur and run your own business, from finances and accounting to marketing and e-commerce.
This degree will prepare students to own and operate their own businesses, seek employment in small to mid-sized companies, or apply for graduate studies.
Getting the Applied Business and IT degree will help me start my own business and have the knowledge and skill set necessary to run it.
For more information, call the Educational Opportunities Center at 984-3286 or visit us online at maui.hawaii.edu.
Would you like to attend college, but are afraid that you can't afford it?
You know, going to college was like something really hard because you had to have money and all that kind of stuff. And when I found that there was a financial aid application, I was, I felt very happy. I was willing to do whatever the application asked of me to.
Call or stop by the Financial Aid Office at Maui College to discover how you can afford your college education.
I would like to go to college. I just don't think I can.
I did.
I did. We did.
I did.
I did.
I did too.
I did. I did.
I did. I did. I did.
I did because of her. I did. I did. I did.
We did! They all did. Call Maui College or log on to our website to find out how you can too.
Welcome back to Maui EVA. I was just ending the previous segment with Mat McNeff on charging stations, and I'm very, very excited to see that finally there's clarity about the use of these two charging stations I've been looking forward to. I know they're Coulomb charging stations, and they're right smack in Kahului, and I believe in Kahului, which is the most populated area, or no, Kihei is the most populated area, but Kahului is the, so to speak, capital of Maui. There's really no public charging stations except for at Jim Falk Motors, but it's mainly for their clients. And of course, it's closed after hours. But the 2 charging stations, so they're level 1 and I think also level 2, right? Or are they both level 2?
I think they're just level 1.
They're level 1? Oh, okay.
Slow charging.
Sorry?
Slow charging.
They're slow charging. Oh, right. Okay. Well, we need to look into that a little bit. I need to try it out a little bit before I start telling people about it. But it's great that, you know, you're offering that to everyone. Yeah, but please continue.
Okay. You know, MECO is continually, as we kind of mentioned earlier in the show, continually looking for ways to increase our renewable generation. So, you know, previously I presented the stats as they were at the end of 2011. And for 2012 already, well, by the end of 2012, we will have added 42 additional megawatts of wind energy on the Maui grid. You know, we're continuing to look at biofueling our own generation, MECO generation. And we've already installed more PV this year than we did all of 2011.
Okay.
And speaking of installing PV, you know, all the solar that MECO is installing is getting us national attention. The Solar Electric Power Association ranked MECO #1 in the nation for cumulative number of solar systems per customer, #2 in the nation for cumulative watts per customer, and just considering what we installed in 2011, we were ranked 7th in the nation for watts per customer.
Well, that's really something. And what is SEPA?
They are the Solar Electric Power Association, and they're made up of utilities across the nation.
All right. So we could say that we have the highest, what, percentage of solar? Can we say that?
It's per customer. You
Per
know,
customer.
obviously, MECO is much smaller than some other utilities, so really the only way we can compete is on a per customer basis. If you were to go with megawatts or whatever, obviously California with larger land.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on a per capita
Yeah,
basis,
exactly.
we could say. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's something indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
So, you know, as I've mentioned, you know, we do have quite a bit of renewable energy on Maui, and at times there is not enough load to accept all of that renewable energy. And during those times we have to curtail, which means not to accept some of the energy from those facilities. And I wanted to illustrate the concept of curtailment with an example.
Great. Excellent.
So I'm going to start off with the Maui daily load profile. So this is kind of an example of what the load looks like for a given day on Maui. Right. You know, it's any day it may be higher or lower than what I'm presenting here. It's just this is an example.
Right. Well, now you're saying this is like average. Can I just ask one little thing? Are there seasons on Maui? I mean, can we differentiate between, say, the winter period and the summer period? Is there a marked difference?
Yeah, there are slight differences, between the
differences.
different seasons. Yeah.
Okay. What about, say, weekday, weekend?
Absolutely.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay. So this
Yeah.
is kind of an average.
Right.
Okay.
So it's just for an example purposes.
Okay.
I mean, previously I presented that the highest peak for 2011 for Maui was 194. You can see on the load profile that I presented, I don't know, maybe on this day it reaches 175, something like that.
Right.
So again, just to talk a little bit about the graph, on the left-hand side is the demand in megawatts, and on the x-axis is the time, starting from midnight to midnight in the next day.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and you can kind of see that the lowest period of electrical usage on Maui is around 3 in the morning. Most people are sleeping, not a lot of things going on. And the highest time of electrical usage on Maui is typically in the evening, right around 7:30 p.m. A lot of people are coming home from work, cooking dinner, taking showers, stuff like that.
And also when it gets dark.
Yeah, sure,
Right.
lights.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then a concept that is important to know is that the generation needs to equal the demand at all times. So whatever people want to use, that's how much Maui Electric needs to produce, either through renewable energy or through fossil fuels.
Because electricity is not like water or gasoline where there's storage.
Right.
Right.
Currently, there's not any large utility storage.
Right. So every time you want to switch the lights on or boil water, the electricity has to be right there.
Right.
Yeah. So it has to equal.
So as far as the example goes, I'm going to start with building a stack or a generation stack, sort of how we would meet the load for any given day. And I've started out with the MECO generation. So this is the MECO units back down to their minimums that will, the minimum that will still ensure reliable service. Okay. So MECO units at their minimums. And then I've layered on top of that the biomass facility, HCNS, Hawaii Commercial and Sugar.
Okay.
And they deliver power to Maui on a scheduled basis, about 8 megawatts off-peak typically and 12 megawatts on-peak. So I've layered them onto the graph.
So that's contract,
Yeah.
but that's also firm energy.
Exactly.
Right. So both of these, would you say they're base load?
I've added some non-base load MECO generation in anticipation for later in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. And then on top of the graph, I've added the 3 wind farms, 2 existing and 1 to be completed by the end of the year, at their nameplate capacity, so at their maximum.
At their maximum?
Yeah,
Okay.
just to kind of show the potential.
The potential. All right.
And then over that, I've just layered on the previous load curve that we had. And you can kind of see that anything above the black line would represent that energy that Maui Electric could not take should the facilities be at maximum, as I've shown them on the graph.
So the third wind farm doesn't really get used that much.
Well, again, they're all shown at maximum.
At
so
maximum.
depending on what wind 1 and wind 2
I
are
see.
doing, they may or may not be operating, just depending on what's going on at the time.
Right. And is your MECO generation the firm base load? Is it possible to switch that off to allow the wind to continue to be used?
So in this graph, we've already done that. All these
Oh.
units are at their minimum, and it's the least amount of units we can do to ensure reliable service.
Right. Okay.
And then again, just to go back to what I said about the load curve, you can kind of see that because the period of lowest demand is at 3 in the morning, that's also the period for the highest potential to use additional renewable energy.
That's when we want the electric vehicles to be charging.
Exactly. Off-peak charging has the greatest potential to use additional renewable energy.
Excellent. And now, so you're, I suppose with time of use rates, that's encouraging electric vehicles to charge at that time.
Exactly.
Well, we don't have enough electric vehicles at the moment.
Not yet.
Not yet, right. Do you have a feeling for how many we need to be able to make use of that before it gets to be too many?
No, I don't have a feeling for that. I know that each incremental one probably helps.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably we could calculate that, how many before it's too much. Yeah. Do you think? Well, I suppose we would want all EVs to be charging overnight. Yeah. And I guess during the daytime, especially at the peak, you want to make sure that there's no EVs charging.
Yeah, that's the least desirable time for them
That's
to charge.
the least desirable time. This is a great curve. I would be I suppose you have many people analyzing what happens on the weekend, what happens during the week, and what happens during extreme weather conditions, or say sports events or television, events. Everybody's watching TV, and then things like
all those things, they affect the usage. In general, the curve still typically looks the same. It just may be shifted up or down a little bit.
Maybe shift up or down.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I suppose during the day, would that be air conditioning load mainly?
Yeah, businesses are starting up,
Businesses.
air conditioning loads, all that.
All that,
Yeah.
right. And what do you mean by curtailment? Do you actually, the wind still blows and then the turbines are still running, you just won't accept the electricity?
Correct. So they receive the signal on how much we can accept, and they'll only produce that amount.
All right. And do the turbines still turn?
Depends on the level of curtailment. If it's not that much, they'll feather the blades you know, so sort of make it so they grab less wind, so they make less electricity.
Oh, okay. So that's actually work to try to stop it, to slow it down.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's controls that are designed for that.
So if we only had a battery or some kind of energy storage system to store all that energy and then use it later when we need it, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's one possibility for helping out with curtailment.
And I guess part of that is the smart grid demonstration project.
Absolutely.
With batteries and testing all these new technology, the vehicle to grid.
Right.
So we could use electric vehicles as batteries, right? Energy storage, mobile energy storage,
Right.
feed it back. So that's very exciting. Then we can make use of all that renewable energy that Maui has.
Yeah, EVs, you know, they work on so many levels.
Right. Well, I think this is a good time to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll look into the details of how much it all costs. Wonderful. So please come back and join us for the last section on tariffs and costs.
This is Cable 55, UH Maui College Television Network.
Welcome back to Maui EVA. In this last section, we finally go into the details of electric vehicle charging. Just how much does it cost? What are the different options for EV customers? Matt, please take us through.
Okay, well, based on my previous slides, you can tell that Maui Electric is very for electric vehicles. And so you might ask, what are we doing to encourage it? Well, we have rates specially designed for people with electric vehicles. I'm going to give sort of a high-level overview of some of those rates, but people are encouraged to call Maui Electric with their specific situation or if they have any additional questions.
Okay.
So Maui Electric currently has electric vehicle pilot rates, and the pilot is running for 3 years starting in October 2010, so it started already. And the pilot is currently limited to 300 customers for Maui County. Don't worry though, there's plenty of spaces still left. And it's only for highway capable electric vehicles with 4 wheels.
So not golf carts.
Right, and not motorcycles. Or
Not motorcycles, right, or
electric
bicycles
right.
or scooters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to first go over the options for residential customers.
Okay.
Okay, so the first option for a residential customer would be a time of use EV meter. And that's where Maui Electric would come out and replace your whole house meter with a time of use meter.
Okay.
And so we kind of touched on it before, but time of use rates are such that it's more expensive during peak hours and cheaper during off-peak hours.
Okay.
So a time of use EV meter might be for those customers that don't have a lot of on-peak electrical usage, or those that can shift their usage from on-peak to off-peak, including EV charging.
Okay. So not okay. That's sort of like me. If I go to work, so during the day I'm not home anyway.
Right.
Right. But my refrigerator
Sure.
and hot water heater are still running.
Yes.
So that will be more expensive.
Yes.
Okay.
But hot water heater, that's one thing you can probably shift around, you know.
Oh, I can have
Timing,
the hot.
right, yeah.
Right. Have the timing.
Yeah.
In the evening, so when I wake up, I can take
Sure.
a hot shower.
Yeah, depending on how you use it.
Okay, so then it's just the refrigerator.
Right. You know, so you can do things like that.
Excellent.
And if you had an EV, then you can charge it, you know, during the off-peak times to save money.
Okay.
And again, so this option, 1 meter, and it's for the entire house, all loads, including the charging.
Okay.
Then the second option available to residential customers is the EVR rate. And this is where Maui Electric would come out and put a electric vehicle charging meter. So a meter solely dedicated to charging electric vehicles.
So it's a second meter.
Right.
Okay.
This option would require that the customer hire a licensed electrician to do some work on their house to prepare it for a dedicated meter and charging setup.
That's where you can choose where it can be.
Right, in the garage.
In the
or, you know,
garage,
however.
okay. So basically the rest of your bill doesn't get affected.
That's
It's
right.
As if, yeah.
All the other loads other than charging would stay under your house meter.
Your house meter.
And
okay.
the charging of your electric vehicle would be subject to time of use rates.
Okay.
Again,
So
higher on peak, lower
higher,
off peak.
okay. So with the normal residential rates right now, it's just a flat rate.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And then the third option is always available that you don't have to do anything. You can charge your electric vehicle under your existing residential rate. No MECO involvements needed, no changing of meters or anything.
And every single electric vehicle comes with the standard plug that goes into a standard 3-prong outlet, 110 volt, 120 volt outlet, right? So you could just plug it in. You don't need to install a charging station. So you could have a period where you actually see your usage, whether it changes maybe after the first or 2 bills, and then you decide, well, actually, maybe I should go to the TOU EV option, or I want to put a separate meter.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, which rate is the best for you really depends on, you know, your particular lifestyle and your household and whatnot.
That's true. That's true.
So I mentioned it with the time of use EV and the EVR rates. There is on-peak and off-peak periods. So the time of use EV has off-peak, mid-peak, and priority peak times shown on the slide. And the EVR has just on-peak and off-peak times.
Okay, and those times are?
For off-peak is for the time of use EV is 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. daily.
Okay.
And then mid-peak is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And priority peak, obviously, 5 to 9 Monday through Friday. You know, that kind of fits with the load curve I showed.
Right. Okay.
And then EVR is a little simpler, only on-peak and off-peak. On-peak is 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And off-peak is pretty much the rest of the time, 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. daily, and 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday.
And this is for the entire year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, and for commercial customers, there's 2 options if they want to charge their electric vehicle. One, they can sign up for the EVC rate, and this is basically the commercial equivalent of the EVR rate. So they would keep most of their facility on their existing meter and rate schedule, and they would install a separate meter for specifically for charging electric vehicles.
Okay.
Again, an electrician would be involved to modify the facility. Or they can just charge their electric vehicle through their existing rate schedule and infrastructure.
Okay.
Again, EVC rates have time of use, so on peak and off peak, it's the same as the EVR rates.
Okay.
So you might ask, what does a customer need to do if they want to sign up for some of these EV rates? So first, they need to determine what kind of EV charger they want to install and discuss the requirements with their electrician.
Okay.
After that, they should determine whether they want to stay on their existing rate or actually sign up for one of the MECO EV rates. So if they want to keep the existing rate, there's no MECO involvement, charge away. If they want to go to the EVTOU rate, they need to submit an enrollment form to MECO and you know, like a copy of the registration and whatnot, and MECO will change out their house meter to time of use. And if they want to go to the EVR rate, they need to get an electrician to modify for the dedicated charging and meter setup, and at the same time put in a service request to MECO Engineering for the EVR meter. Commercial process, basically the same. Determine what kind of charger they want to install and consult with the electrician. They can stay on the existing rate or go through the same steps for the EVC. And then if anyone has any additional questions, you know, we have a ton of information on our website, including the rate schedules and, you know, on-peak and off-peak explained and stuff like that. It's www.mauielectric.com. Click on renewable energy and electric vehicles. Alternatively, if they want to call, email, or write, the contact information is shown.
Excellent. And since you're welcoming EVs to help you use up the renewable energy, I'm sure everybody will be calling you now that they've seen this episode today.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't touch upon is people who already have solar on their rooftops and they want to put in an EV. Earlier in one of our earlier episodes, 5th episode, we actually talked about how you could just pay $18 a month or something like that, and if you have enough solar panels, that will pay for your electric car charging as well. So that's something that, well, we notice is a possible solution for people who want to cap their.
That's more along the sort of net energy metering.
The net energy metering, right? And so commercially, you can also do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The feed-in tariffs.
So the $18 you referenced, it's the minimum charge for a residential customer.
Right.
So that's not necessarily what a commercial customer would pay. Nor if the PV system you install, for whatever reason, for a month can't totally supply your need, your bill would be larger than that.
Right. So we, in the 6th episode, we looked at the whole PV saturation and everything. I'm really glad that we finally talked about costs, and I have a feeling that in a future episode, we'll have to look at scenario analysis. Yeah, to help people see just how much. I know that a ballpark figure to charge your Nissan Leaf from totally empty to totally full overnight on your existing residential flat rate from a 3-prong outlet, you know, 110 volt. It's about $10 roughly, because it's about, yeah. And then Chevy Volt would be about $4. So what I would want to know is if I were to switch into the TOU EV rate or the EVR rate, how much less would that be? And I guess the other questions are whether my lifestyle would be flexible to change, do my washing or my drying or whatever at those off-peak times. But anyway, thank you very much, Matt. I think we covered quite a bit today, and I look forward to working with you in the future on some of these issues.
All right, thanks. I look forward to it too.
Thank you. All right. So that was Mat McNeff from MECO, the Manager of Renewable Energy Services at Maui Electric. And I'm Ann Koo, and I hope you will join us for future episodes. All the past episodes are online on our YouTube channel, and please visit our website, mauieva.org, for more information. Thank you.